We are doing the same exact thing that we did yesterday. I'm not going to do all the front with you. I am going to do some with you. Let's look at number 2. The reason why I picked number 2, it's kind of hard to see because of the sun. I'll try to hide the light. The reason why I picked number 2 is because it's 8/15, and 15ths is not even. So we're going to have to think about where the halfway mark would be. So let's refresh our memory and go ahead and draw a number line. And let's put 0, 1. For half, I just want you to put a dot. I don't want you to put a line for this one. And the reason why is because it's not going to fall on a number. It's going to fall at a halfway part. Okay, is everybody looking? Everybody looking? Kiara, let me see your eyes. If we're on 15ths, what would 1 whole be? Say it. 15/15.
It's a great day at CMS to be spared. Good morning. Let's all stand, face the flag, and place our hands over our hearts for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is now time for the moment of silence. You may choose to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in any other silent activity that does not interfere with others. The moment of silence shall begin now. In the cafeteria today, we will be having spaghetti with meat sauce, garlic breadstick, green beans, fruit, and milk. Student council will meet Thursday after school until 4. Officers will meet in Miss Harp's room on Wednesday at lunch. Happy birthday to Miss Kelly. Have a tiger day.
Okay, so far you should have where 0 is on your number line, and you should have where 1 whole is on your number line. Now we got to figure out where half is, and this is where it gets difficult because 15 is an odd number, so I'm going to help you, okay? So watch me. This is how I think. Whenever I was in the 5th grade, this is exactly what I thought. I thought to myself, well, 6 and 6 get me 12. That doesn't give me 15. 7 and 7 get me 14. I'm getting closer. 8 and 8 get me 16. So somehow I skipped right over 15. I went from 7 and 7 that got me 14, and 8 and 8 that got me 16. So it's got to be somewhere in between 7 and 8. So what would be in between 7 and 8? 7 and a half. Good. I think you're figuring that out. So that goes right here at the halfway mark, and put it over 15. Now, go to number 2 and see what they gave us. What did they give us? Say this number. 8/15. Where would 8/15 be? Close to 0?
No.
Close to 1 whole?
No.
Wouldn't it be like boom right there by 7 and a half? Wouldn't it? So we're going to mark 8/15 out, and we're going to make it be half. Okay, or is this coming back to you? I know we slept. I know we had macaroni and rice-a-roni and pancakes, but is it coming back to you? Okay. Now let's do the second part. Draw another number line. I'm not on 15ths anymore. What am I on now? Say this one. No, not 5. Say fifths. Fifths. Okay. So here's 0. 1 whole would be 5/5. 5/5. Now I got to figure out where the halfway mark is, and I'm putting a dot because it's going to be at a half. So here I'm going to talk you through it again. I know some of you already know the answer, but I'm going to help you a little bit. 2 and 2 is going to get me 4. 3 and 3 is going to get me 6. I skipped right over 5. So it's got to be somewhere in between 2 and 3 then. What would it be? 2 and a half. Good. So I'm going to put 2 and a half right there, and I'm going to put it over 5.
Teachers, please excuse this interruption. At this time, I need 8th graders whose last names start with A or a B to please bring your your Chromebook and your charger to the commons area. Thank you.
Okay, what do we need? What fraction did the book give us? They gave us 2/5. Wouldn't 2/5 come right in front of 2.5? Wouldn't it be right there? Yeah, that's as close as you can get to half. So mark that out and put half. So if I had half a pizza, and look, we're adding this time, and you brought half a pizza, I put our halves together, how much pizza do I have now? One whole pizza, okay? Are you tracking how to do it? Okay, I'll do one more with you. And I don't want to do the one that's got an odd number, because I want you to try that on your own. So I'm going to do, well, this one has an odd number. I'll do this one with you. 8/10. We ought to be able to do this one in our head, okay? So 8/10, that would be 0. What would one whole be on tenths? 10/10. What's half on tenths? 5/10. So you got to decide, is 8/10 closer to 5? Or is 8/10 closer to 10/10? What do y'all think? 10/10. So that would be worth one whole. On this second one, let's go ahead and draw a number line. It helps. Some we can do in our head. Sometimes we have to draw number lines. 0, and if I'm on ninths, then one whole would be 9/9. So I got to figure out where half is on ninths. Well, here we go. 3 and 3 is going to get me 6. 4 and 4 is going to get me 8. Ooh, I'm getting closer. 5 and 5 is going to get me 10. Uh-oh, I skipped right over the 9. So if 4 and 4 get me 8, and 5 and 5 get me 10, it's going to be somewhere in between 4 and 5. What would that be? 4.5. So I'm going to put a dot right here. I'm going to say that's 4.5 over 9. Now what did they give us? 4/9. Wouldn't 4/9 come, boom, right there, as close as you could get to half?
Yeah.
So I already had one whole pizza, and you brought me half a pizza. How much pizza do I have now?
1/2.
No, I don't have 1/2. I have 1 1.5. What? Put your pencils down for a minute. I want to show you this, because kids say this wrong all the time. This right here is 1/2. This is 1 1/2. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah.
It's different. So the answer here is 1 1/2. Now I want you to pay attention. Not every one of these are adding. Some of these are subtracting. Okay, don't fall for that trick. Okay, turn to the back. That's all I'm doing on the front. And real quick, if you get stuck on one of these, of course I want to help you, but I only want to help you if you've drawn a number line first. And if you found 0, 1/2, and 1 first, okay? If you come up and say, Ms. Caulfield, I don't understand this, I'm going to go, where's your number line? I'm going to send you back to your chair and make you draw the number line first, okay? Does everybody get that? Because that'll make sense to you if you do that. Okay. Number 8. Sam and Lou need a total. What does total mean to do? Add. Put a plus sign on top of that. Of 1 foot of wire for a science project. Sam's wire measured 8/12 foot long. Lou's wire measured 7/8 foot long. Do they have enough for the science project? So it's kind of like this. Sam's got a little bit of wire. Lou's got a little bit of wire. They're going to put that wire together, and they need what? They need it to be at least 1 foot. And so we're asking, do they have enough? Okay. So let's round. 8/12. Here's 0. Here's 1 whole. What would 1 whole be on 12s? 12 12s. Who am I, Xander? I'm on 12s. Oh, you should know this right off. Who am I? Who am I?
6/12.
6/12, because 6 and 6 get me 12. So I'm 6/12. Where would 8/12 be? What would this, if that's 6/12, what would this be? 7/12. What would this be? 8/12. How many steps did that take me to get from half? Just 2. Now, if I'm at 8 twelfths, how do I get all the way to 12 twelfths? How many steps is it going to take me to get from 8 all the way to 12? 4. So who do you think I'm closer to? The half. Good. So mark this out and put half. Now, lose wire with 7/8. Oh my gosh, what are you thinking immediately? Are you thinking what I'm thinking, Lainey? She's like, I don't know. What are you thinking? If I'm on 8s, sorry, you should know this. If I'm on 8s, what's this?
8, 8, 8.
Okay, where would 7/8 be then? Guys, if this is 7/8, or if this is 8/8, where would 7/8 be? Right in front of it. Who am I as close as I could be to? Say the number.
7, 8.
1 whole. Mark that out and put 1. So now remember what we're doing? We're putting their wire together. And what do we have to be when we put it all together? We have to at least be what? 1. Let's see. 1 plus a half gets you 1 and a half. But that's not the answer. The answer is, do they have enough wire for the science project? Yes, that's your first answer. And now we have to explain it a little bit. So what do we call 8 twelfths? What's the first thing? We called 8 twelfths 1/2. Then we called 7/8. What do we call 7/8? 1 whole. Then what do we do next, Kiara?
And then the next will be,
After we change this to half and we change this to 1, what do we do after that? We added them together. So 1 plus a half gets you 1 and a half. That's how we knew that we had enough, because we combined them. Shake your head if that makes sense, okay? Because you're fixing to have a practice buddy today. Katia.
At this time, we need any 8th grade student whose last name starts with C or D. C or D. If you have a last name that starts with A or B and you're an 8th grader, you should have already been to the comments area instead of an 8th grade side.
Katia measured the growth of a plant seedling. That's a little bitty thing. It's just barely gone from a seed to a little bit of a plant. The seedling grew 1/3 inch. That's important. Circle that. That's important. 1/3 inch by the end of the, what does this right here say? First week. That's important information. And another 5/6 inch by the end of the, what do these words say? Second week. Okay, that's important. I love this word. Why do I love this word? It means I'm going to estimate. How much did the seedling grow in the, here we go, in the, what does this say? First 2 weeks. So what does that mean I'm going to do? I'm going to take the first week and I'm going to add to the second week. But first I got to round. So Jake Lee, let's start with you. Let's start with 5/6 because it's the easier one. What would 1 whole be on 6th? 1 whole. Remember, it's going to be the same number on top as the same number on bottom. And I'm on 6ths. 6/6. So if I'm 6/6, where would 5/6 be, Jake Lee? Right in front of it. So what do you want to call 5/6? It's as close as you can get to what number? What is 6/6? 1. Mark that out and put 1. Okay, now this is tricky because it's a third. I want everybody to draw a number line. I want you to put 0. I want you to draw 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. And try your best to make the spacing be the same in between all of them. Okay, try your best. I'm not perfect, but it looks pretty good. So far, your paper should look just like my paper. It's whenever you do something like this that would be wrong. Okay, this is a mess up. Watch me mess up. if you did 0 and you did 1/3, and see how much space that is? But then you went way over here and you put 2/3. See how that space is not the same amount as this space? Okay, that would be wrong on a number line. But I tried to do it better this way. Okay, so we have 0, say check.
Check.
We have 1 whole, say check.
Check.
What are we missing? What are we missing? Half. We got to figure out where half is. Why is half hard on this?
Because it's a 3.
What does 3 mean?
And
It's an odd number, isn't it?
yes.
So let's see, I need your help. Will 1 plus 1 get me 3? That's going to give me 2, isn't it? So it's not 1. Would 2 plus 2 get me 3?
No.
What's that going to get?
4.
I jumped right over 3. So what's it got to be in between?
1.5.
1 and 2. So it would be 1.5, which is right here. So do I have 0? Say check.
Check.
Do I have half? Say check.
Check.
Do I have 1 whole? Say check. Okay, so now what fraction did the book give me? 1/3. So that's right here. So is 1/3 closer to 0 or is 1/3 closer to half?
At this time, 8th grade
How?
students whose last name begins with E, S, or G, please bring your Chromebook and charger to the commons area. E, S, or G.
We all agreed that it was closer to half than it was to 0. So let's see, it grew this much the first week and this much the second week. So what's a half plus 1 more? Say the number.
1.5.
1.5, good. And it's in inches, so put inches. Okay. Number 10, a scientist measured the amount of rain that fell in a town during 1 month. How much more rainfall was there in week 4 than in week 1? I'm looking for math students who heard key words in that word problem. I'm going to read it again. A scientist measured the amount of rain that fell in a town during 1 month. How much more rainfall was there in week 4 than in week 1? Who heard key words? Oh my gosh, you heard some key words? What words did you hear? Okay, I actually do think that's important. That is important, but that wasn't the words I was thinking of. What are you thinking of? How much more? Why are those key words? Because what does how much more tell us to do? Subtract. So on top of that, I want you to put subtract. Now, I do agree with Colin, because I do think week 4 and week 1 are important words, because that tells you what to subtract. So, Lainey, what does week 4 tell us to do? What is week 4's rainfall? 4.07. Everybody write 4.07. Now we're going to subtract. Hope, what are we going to subtract next?
Subtract.
Look what weeks Colin told us.
4.01.
We already did that. We already did week 4. What 2 weeks are we looking at? What did he tell us to underline? What does that say right there, sister?
Week 1.
Week 1. So how much is week 1?
2.6.
Okay, now here's the question. If we're subtracting decimals, what do we do when we're subtracting decimals? Do you remember?
The decimals are in the same place.
Kind of. You line them up. So 2.6 goes right there where your decimals are on top of each other. And what do I do in this blank over here? Add a 0. There, I'm not going to work that out for you. You guys work it out. What do you do when you get to your answer? What do you do with your decimal when you get to your answer?
Bring it down.
Bring it straight down. Good. When you get your answer, it's in millimeters. So put a little m and another little m, and it doesn't get a period. Xander, what'd you get?
1.47.
Oh, don't say dot, say point.
1.47.
Do y'all agree? 1.47 millimeters? Okay. Number 11. Jack is growing red wiggler worms to help make compost. We talked about compost last hour. Do y'all know that's where you like save your banana peels and your orange peels and your potato peels and your eggshells, and you put them in like a pile, and all that stuff, like, it's called decomposes. Look at me. It's all this stuff, it like decomposes, it breaks down, and it makes really good soil. And you grow worms in it, and worms, I know it sounds kind of crazy.
At this time, 8th graders whose last name begins with H or I, please report to the 7th and 8th grade commons area with your compass and charger.
Worms like dig all through it, and it makes it really rich soil. So if you want to grow something really, really good, like later in the spring, that's the dirt that you want to use, because it like has all these rich nutrients in it. So he's putting worms in his compost pile. What did he do with the first worm? What does this say right here? He's measuring the lengths of 2 young worms. The 10-day-old worm is how long? What does this say right here? 10/12. That's important information. He's 10 days old. What about the second worm? The 20-day-old worm is, what does this say? 1 4/6 long. Now we're looking for keywords about, oh gosh, that's an important word. Why is that important? Because it tells us that we're gonna estimate. Here's the other keywords like Jake Lee told us a while ago. How much longer? Gosh, those are important words, because what does that tell us to do? We're gonna subtract. So let's estimate, then subtract. So let's see, Kiara, 10/12. If that's 0, and that's 1 whole, what's 1 whole on 12s?
1 whole on 12 is 12.
And 12/12, okay. So what's half?
The half will be 6.
Okay, so do you think 10/12 is close to 6/12? Or do you think 10/12 is close to 12/12? 12 closer to 12/12, so she wants to call that 1. I agree with her. Bentley, 1 4/6. Now I'm on 6. What's a whole on 6? What's half on 6? 3/6. The book gives us 4/6. So do you think 4/6 is closer to 1 whole, or do you think 4/6 is closer to me? I'm 3/6 to me. So who am I? Am I 0, half, or 1? Half. So mark this out, but half. Now, Colin, what did we decide to do based on our keywords? What are we going to have to do now? Subtract. So I had a whole pizza. James ate half my pizza. Or this is kind of weird. I had a whole worm. Half the worm went away. Actually, this is in inches, but so if I had a whole inch and half the inch went away, how much inches do I have left? Half. Good.
What is 1 and
Oh, that is 1. You're right. I messed up. Okay, hold on. Hold on. The first one was 1 1/2, wasn't it? I didn't write that 1 down. Is that what you're talking about? You're right. 1 1/2 minus 1. You're right. So what happens to my whole inches right here?
It becomes a 0.
It becomes a 0. So what's left?
A half.
A half. There you go. Which was our answer to begin with. Yeah, but you were right. Okay, so here's what you have to do. You have to do 12 and 13. Circle those at the bottom. You have to do the front. And you also have a practice buddy. But the practice buddy's not due till Friday. Okay, so practice buddy is due on Friday. But if you get finished with today's assignment, you need to go right to that. Okay, go.